Hey everyone, Frankenstein here, and today I wanted to do a top 5 of my favorite Troma movies. So if you're interested in finding out which movies are my favorite, please keep watching. Okay, you guys, so for those of you who don't know, Troma are an independent movie company. They've been around for 40 odd years, and they've been making some wonderful, wonderful movies. Some of them you may have heard of, a lot of them you probably haven't heard of. You may have heard of the founder, Lloyd Kaufman. He's big on the convention circuit. He's all over social media, on Twitter, and he's a really, really nice guy. I've met him a couple of times, both once in Canada, once here in Australia, and both times he's been absolutely lovely. You can truly tell that he loves what he does, he loves his company, and yeah, he's just kind of awesome. So I thought what I'd do is talk to you about my 5 favorite Troma films. And I think I would have been about maybe 12 or 13, probably an early teenager, when I saw my first Troma film. And I'm still trying to figure out if the first one I ever saw was Terra Firma or if it was Killer Condoms. I think that one's a Troma film. Either way, it's kind of like schlocky B grade, but I just adore it, and it's like low budget goodness, and I love it so much. So I thought I would share my top 5, so here we go. So this is in no particular order. First on my list is my ultimate favorite Troma film ever, which is Terra Firma. Pretty much there's a homicidal maniac on the loose on the set of a Troma film that's being made, and obviously the cast and crew are the ones that have to kind of figure out who this maniac is and put a stop to him. I think it was one of the very first movies I ever saw, like I mentioned before, and it's just a movie that has stayed with me. And I think when you're at a young age, especially if you're a teenager, movies that are kind of funny and have, you know, a bit of nudity in them and, you know, a bit kind of crazy, they're the movies that stick with you. And Troma are well known for their comedic aspect in their movies, and you know, their nudity and their sex and all that kind of stuff. So Terra Firma is definitely my first favorite Troma movie of all time. Next on my list is Romeo and Juliet. As you will have probably figured out, it is a take on the Shakespearean classic Romeo and Juliet. Of course, the Troma version has been a little bit updated. So, you know, Romeo is kind of a bit of a punk, and, you know, there's piercings involved, and there's lesbianism, and there's, you know, it's almost like a neo-punk version of Romeo and Juliet. And I love it. I just used to be so in love with Will Keenan. He plays Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. He is also in Terra Firma, and I just used to adore him growing up, so that's probably the reason why I love those 2 movies. Next up on my list of favorites is The Toxic Avenger. This is probably Troma's most well-known movie. It's about a guy called Melvin. He's a like weakling. He's a real nerd, and he falls into a vat of toxic waste, and he becomes the Toxic Avenger, which is Tromaville's most celebrated hero. So it's an adventure movie, obviously, and it's just, it's iconic, really. I mean, Toxie is kind of the face of Troma, and it's definitely one of those movies I saw when I was younger, and a movie that really stayed with me. So it also spawned a couple of sequels. And yeah, I mean, I love the Toxie franchise, but if I had to choose one, I would go with the original because it's the one that kind of hooked me in. So I love Toxie. Next up on my list is Sgt Kabukiman N.Y.P.D. This film to me is just crazy. Sgt Kabukiman is about a cop who is possessed by the spirit of a kabuki master. This has made him the chosen one to do battle with the evil one. It's just... I think it stems from my love of Japan, why I love this movie so much. It's just crazy and I love it, and you know, I think it's another classic that people should watch. It's just, yeah, Sgt Kabukiman with his sushi, and I love it. And finally, last on my list, I have a little bit of a tie because I couldn't really choose which one I wanted to put. So lastly, I have the Class of Nuke, which is tied also with Cannibal the Musical. So Class of Nuke is about a group of teenagers who go to a high school that's near a nuclear power plant, and they start acting a little bit weird, and they start looking a little bit weird after they buy some contaminated drugs. Funnily enough, because I haven't watched Class of Nuke in quite a while, so I'm a little bit fuzzy on the details. I can't really remember a whole lot of it, but it's just when I was compiling this list, it was one of the movies that kind of jumped into my head. So that's why I've put it here. Troma movies really do make an impact on you. Like, once you see them, they're not movies that you forget. So that was, that's taking up the 5th spot on my list, along with Cannibal the Musical. Now, for those of you who are unaware, Cannibal the Musical is actually a movie made by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who most of you will know as the creators of South Park. And I think... I don't want to say that South Park stems from this movie, because clearly it doesn't. Like, there's no similarities subject-wise between Cannibal the Musical and South Park, but I think it's the whole musical aspect. You know, Trey Parker and Matt Stone aren't afraid from a musical number here and there. And so pretty much Cannibal the Musical is about the sole survivor of a mining expedition, and it's pretty much him telling you how his lust for gold became actually a lust for human flesh. So it's, of course, it's crazy. It has those, I guess you'd call them B-grade special effects, but it just adds to the charm of the movie. And of course, the musical numbers are ones that will get stuck into your head, very Trey Parker-esque. So yeah, that's my list of that's my list of Troma movies, you guys. There are other ones that have been really popular more recently, like Poultrygeist, which I actually haven't checked out. But the cool thing with Troma is that if you go on YouTube and you search up their account, which I will link below, you can pretty much watch their entire library of movies for free. That's how amazing Troma is. They put their movies up for free so you guys can watch it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have kind of lasted the test of time. So get behind Troma and support independent movies. I want to see them around for another 40 years because they're so awesome. I will also put in the down bar below links to all their social media pages. I'll put a link to their Twitter and their Facebook. I'll link you to Lloyd Kaufman's Twitter. And yeah, you guys go watch some Troma movies and appreciate the the feel of these movies. Like, they are definitely one of a kind. So go check them out. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And yeah, until next time, I'm Nattie Frankenstein, and I will see you later.